they were in G minor or G major. So that's why I felt most comfortable with them. I have other like Vengeance and stuff, but I don't know how relevant that is or how important that
You
is.
just brought up a really good point. Should you have your kick in tune with your song or not? Okay, most of the time it doesn't matter. A lot of these,
Really?
yeah, a lot of these kicks don't have a tonal note to them. Let's listen to them on preview like this. All of those kicks are very percussive. They don't have a tone or note to them very much. The reason you would want to have your kick in tune with your song is if you're worried about it harmonically clashing with the song or with the bass line. And unless it has a really obvious note to it, you won't hear it clash with the song, and you'll hear it clash with the bass line. Like, these are really short, sharp, percussive kicks, so you could have them playing with your bass. Which track is the bass again? You have it playing together.
Should say lower.
Lower, that's right. Okay. And all these kicks will do, because they're short, sharp, and percussive, will just add a thump to the beginning of that bass, and they won't cause a clashing problem. You'll get the clashing problem when they've got more of a tonal note, and it will sound kind of like, to give you an example, I'll play on this lower synth. I need to make this polyphonic. Where do we do that in here? Poly, over here. Okay, so here's me playing C on Serum. Here's me playing C sharp. If I press them both together so that it's two notes that they're one semitone apart, listen to what happens. They start to wobble. Hear that kind of modulation?
Yeah.
So you might notice that too. It's similar to when you're like tuning a guitar or something and you're trying to hit the two strings together and get them to be in the same key. And then when they're not in the same key, you get that bad modulation like this. Dissonant modulation. If your kick and your bass do that at the same time, like when your kick hits with the bass note, you hear that kind of dissonant modulation, then you've got a problem, and that's when your kick needs to be in tune. But your kicks are so short and punchy, which is normal for so many styles of music, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be in the key of the song. It's only when it's super tonal. Let me give you an example of a really tonal kick drum where you would want to make sure it's... Usually this happens in like trap, anything with 808 kicks or anything with kicks that are like big room EDM type stuff. Okay, like this. Hear how tonal that is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas this is just a thump. It's like, you can see in the waveform there's a fast bit of frequency, and then there's the slow, low frequency, and it all happens so quick. It's just, I guess the key word is it's percussive. It's not tonal. All of those tonal, percussive. These are all percussive. That's tonal. These are tonal. That's percussive. That one there is slightly tonal because it's quite long. You can kind of hear a bit of note to it, or at least I can feel it in my sub pack right now. And that could potentially cause a slight wobble when it, if it was hitting with the bass. But even then, man, when you're using sidechain off it, it very rarely causes a problem hitting together with the kick. So I guess what I'm trying to wrap up here and the whole thing about kicks being in tune is, I think too much pressure and focus has been placed on this in YouTube tutorials and other things where people say you have to do this, but it's really just like my golden rule, like I always say, is listen and decide. It's not a hard and fast rule that your kick has to be in tune. The way you distinguish is like this, is choosing if does your kick sound tonal or is it short and percussive. If it's short and percussive, it generally doesn't need to be in key, because you can't actually even identify the key really. All you can do is look at it on a spectrum analyzer, and you can have a look and see what the fundamental frequency is. It doesn't really mean that's the key of the kick drum. That's just what the fundamental frequency is. So it's not like you could play it and play chords with it or anything. It's just a percussive sound. So let's throw.
That makes complete sense.
Cool. So does that clear up when to worry about your kick being in song with your kick being in key with your song?
Yeah, absolutely. The myth has been busted.